our bishop, he's not only a pastor, but he works in therapy. And so if you could, just some things that our pastors, they need to know in order to maintain, our Dr. Purvis was already talking about maintaining the space, but what are some things that we can do in order to continue to maintain our mental health?
Rest. I mean, really, if there was one single thing to do, and it's the thing that most of us as leaders battle with, is getting rest, getting adequate sleep. It's difficult on so many levels. One, just because of how life is set up for most of us right now. And even before the pandemic, some of us, we didn't sleep well, so, but if we can find ways to sleep better, rest better, that will help. That helps with our cognitive abilities. It helps with our ability to process, our ability to think through decision making. Even when you go to purchase things and they're big purchases, sometimes you hear some people say, well, don't make a hasty decision, make sure that you rest, make a decision on a rested mind and things, because it really does help to, and I don't mean center you like the new age center you. I don't mean that humming stuff. I mean just to help us get into rhythm of where we are, be in the present. And then the other thing I would say is, when you feel yourself really overwhelmed, pause. And I'll share, just recently we were on the road for ministry. Some of you saw the pictures and such from Cleveland. And when we were there, I on purpose, usually if I'm going somewhere, if I can do it, I purposely try to come in a day early so I don't have to rush to get there. That's one. And then I'll stay a day or two late.
We're both PKs. So don't forget the vision for your family, because I think that's something that's very much important. You don't want to gain the entire church and lose your family, and that's something definitely important. So my last question to you before we sign off: what does a pastoral support team look like? Because I know, again, Dr. Purvis, we thank God for you, mentioned about the safe place. Where do we go? Because I know a lot of times that we hear it, sometimes we talk about bleeding on the sheep. So what does a safe place look like?
How honest do you want me to be?
I want you to be 100% honest.
Like, y'all not gonna like think I'm not saved if I answer honest. I think the other thing to that is that's hard for leaders to do. It's hard because who wants to hear from their leader that they're weak? Who wants to hear that, or that I'm tired, or so there's an appropriate space for that. So if you're a leader and you happen to have been bleeding on your sheep, or those that you serve, then that's a time to let yourself need a break, right? Let somebody else preach. It's okay, God's not gonna be mad. Let someone else preach, so that you can get a chance to just kind of refresh your perspective on some stuff. That's A. But when it comes to building a pastoral, I think I want to rephrase that just a little bit and say, get you a group of people who you can be 100% raw with. Now, sometimes God will allow some people on your ministerial staff to be able to handle parts of your humanity. But sometimes leaders make the mistake of giving all of their humanity to people, especially their leadership staff. I know some black leaders, their staff know way too much, and it's not good. And it's not even about being sin. It doesn't have to be in sin. It can be what's something that's not sin that somebody can feel a way about.
Depressed,
oh yeah, like if the pastor said, I feel depressed, right? And so I feel depressed today. I feel down today. And that's not necessarily the time for you to like, the blood of Jesus, the spirit of depression come off of you. Like, oh, what's going on? And that may not be a full conversation that you can have with someone that's a member or the usher in the church, maybe even the deacon. Sometimes you're able to forge those relationships with certain people who are intercessors that have the bandwidth as a human, not even as a preacher, as a human that can handle parts of that, but you build that around that. Right. But then there's another group you need to have that are other pastors, other preachers, and if we're going to use the word pastoral care team, Get a therapist. 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 Just get a therapist. You know, and I know as people of color, we're not into that really. And especially people who are prophetic, we think we don't need to. All the voices y'all hear, and we hear, no, really, if you ask a prophetic person, do you hear voices, they're going to say yes. So that's an immediate, like, hold, like, for 72 hours, you know? So in saying that, we just need to build an environment where we can relax, where we can enjoy, but also people can tell us the truth.